Are you thinking about moving to the Boise area and you have one big question? That is, what's the weather like? If you are asking yourself that and want to know the bare bones, naked truth, this is the place to get it. I'm the official, non-official, non-woke agent of the Boise area. Love helping you guys come and get freedom in your lives and get Big Brother off your back. But one of the things that keeps you from coming here is knowing about the weather. So we're gonna dive into the weather of all 4 seasons, and then there's definitely a con in the summer, there's definitely a con in the winter. Right now, for example, weather's changing, it's cool at night, it's about 40 degrees at night, and it's about 65 in the day. You've got a jacket on inside, you can wear shorts and t-shirt when you're golfing with the sun on your back, so it can bring all sorts of weather, but we're gonna dive into every season, so let's hit it. All right, I'm gonna give you some stats that the internet tells us. I'm also gonna give you stories so that you hear what it's really like. One of the first things that came up when we Googled Boise's weather is it's dry, and I can confirm it's dry. It's a dry climate. We're in a desert, we're in the mountains. Like the Bogus Basin Ski Resort is about a mile high. McCall, Idaho is a mile high. Boise's, I think, 2,500 2,500 feet above sea level. I think. The stats, it says rare that we get below 10 degrees Fahrenheit and rare that we rise above 101 degrees. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I usually feel like there's a few days of over 101 every year, and there's usually a few days where the low drops below 10 every year. That's the low. And there's usually about a 20-degree span in the winter, it seems like, so take that for what it's worth. Average rainfall, less than 12 inches a year. I remember from 4th grade Idaho history class, born and raised here, that it was like 10 inches a year in Boise area. Not sure why I remember that, but wet season is September and October, and then also in the spring, that April, May area. There's also a few huge thunderstorms that happen every June. We only got one this summer in June, but it seems like there's usually a few. I've got memories of watching the NBA Finals. That's a June activity, and stopping the finals to go take down umbrellas. We grew up with a pool, and take down the umbrellas and make sure everything's not going to fly into the pool because of thunder and windstorms. Not a lot of rain when it comes to July and August. It says more likely times to get snow is December. I would say December, January, and sometimes February are those times. But we're going to dive into every season, so let's start with summer. It's hot and dry. I mean, it drops down to 60 degrees at nighttime, and then in the highs, in June you're in the 90-ish. Late July you're starting to touch 100. August usually 100. That depends and varies. 2024 was an odd year. It got hot early, and then the hot times weren't as late in the year. This past year, I think 2025 was actually very stereotypical of our Boise summer. I don't know the exact data. I bet you there was a total of 7 or 8 days above 100. Only like 3 or 4 in a row. And then every once, it was like a 90, we'd have those 90 days and all of a sudden jump to 100 and come back down. Pretty typical summer. One of the things that you don't know about Boise is that the sunrise is super, super early. Like, I would see the sunlight on the way to play basketball at 6 a.m. It's 6:30, 6:45 for that couple weeks stretch around June 21st. You'd get a lot of light in the morning. I mean, speaking of 2 weeks away from June 21st to July 4th, so when we do our fireworks, you don't start till about 10:15. If there's a lot of clouds on that day, then it gets dark a little bit sooner, but for the most part, you're starting like 10:15, 10:20 for fireworks in the middle of the summer. If the data tells you the sun sets at 9:30, we're so high up in the northern hemisphere that you actually have a lot of lingering light from that, after dusk. To give you an idea, summer sunset in September is around 7 to 8 o'clock. It does change. Right around that September 21st area, when the sun rises directly in the east and falls directly in the west, that goes straight overhead, you have about 3 weeks, and that sun moves. I mean, if you see the sunset, it's instead of due west, it's setting. Like right now, we're less than a month away, and we are already seeing the sun already going very much south. So one of my most common things to do with people when they get in a house is they'll ask about, hey, what's the heat like? What's the sun like? Where does it set? Because western sunsets hitting your windows just cakes your house. It's nice in the winter, but it can just totally heat the house up. Warm weather activities, you're in the June to August months. I would even say you can include September, first half of September for sure, and sometimes the full month of September. Like Roaring Springs, you could probably find a few days in May, early May that works, but obviously Memorial Day through Labor Day, that thing's open. And they kind of open with the school year, and that's kind of your good weather. You can still go to lake in May and in September. You can heat your pool from May to September. If your dad is a cheapskate and has a pool and doesn't want to pay the extra heating bill, count on it being Memorial Day through Labor Day. That was what we had growing up. What to wear in the summer? I mean, I'm in flip-flops all the time. When I'm showing homes, I'm in shorts or slacks. I golf in shorts. It's almost ludicrous to put pants on when you golf, although it can be done. One of the summer cons is the smoky air. 2024 was smoky. It seemed like almost 90 days straight. This past summer, we had like a week of smoke and it was very light. You could see bogus most of the summer. 2024, I feel like you could never see bogus. That's a mountain. That's a ski hill. We kind of refer to that a lot. And so 2025 was more normal. People who have moved here in 2024 or 2023 think that there's smoke here all the time. It's not true. 2020, we had a lot of smoke as well, but not as much as 2024. So you can take that with, if you get online, you research and say it's super smoky, just balance it out with someone who's lived here the whole life. It's just not always that way. But let's move on to fall. I'd venture to say there's no better time of year than the fall. So Boise is a desert, right? It's built in a desert, but we have a river that runs right through it. Then we have trees, and they say the most fertile soil is the desert soil. So as long as we can get water to that dirt, it can grow well. We have a very clay-like dirt as well. But if you get water to it, so when you fly over Boise, a ton of trees, and you can see a ton of colors. It's super cool. One of the coolest drives you can make in the fall is driving from Boise to McCall, especially Cascade to McCall. That is up there with New Hampshire, Vermont, Pennsylvania, New York, upstate New York, in terms of fall colors. Absolutely beautiful and magical. I would put it up there with the best of them. The fall season, not by calendar, because fall is officially till December 20th. I would say fall really is the September, October. And the average temperatures is 40 to 70 degrees. Yesterday was 61 degrees and the low was like 40. And I'd say we're pretty much in a typical fall pattern right now. Sun rising around 7:15 right now, and we're filming this video mid-October. Sunsets around that 7, closer to the 7 range, more than 8, but it's between 7 and 8 o'clock. I mean, things you could do in the fall, you could hike Table Rock, you can go camping. My notes say here, the research we've done with Google is you got about 6 weeks of perfect weather, and I would say that's probably about right. I'd say probably 6 to 8 weeks. That's probably pretty accurate. What to wear when it comes to fall weather? I would say fall, you're gonna be wearing, like I have slacks and this jacket on, and a light jacket's great. It reminds me of Miss Congeniality. What's the perfect date? April 26th, isn't it? Or April 28th? All I need is a light jacket.
Describe your perfect date.
I'd have to say April 25th, because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
And I would say that's how we are right now. All you need is a light jacket. Before we go to the topic of winter, which is one of the biggest topics of why you're here, I want to tell you who I am. Born and raised here in Boise, appraiser at one time, real estate agent for the last 8+. I love helping you guys move here. That's why I make these videos, to make them easy to consume, very educational. The only thing we're missing is some good dancing to make it a little more entertaining for you. But if you are looking to become a freedom-loving Idahoan, please give me a call, text, email. Email is on your screen, so give me a call, text, email there. We'll get you set up on the Buying Boise Blueprint, which is gonna help you not waste time. And it's gonna help you not miss out on any homes, not overpay, and not buy a lemon. This system is tried and proven, and it's the best. So give me a call, text, email, and we will get you started becoming a freedom-loving Idahoan. Winters in Boise might surprise you. So Boise is different than Twin Falls, than Burley, than Idaho Falls, than Pocatello, than Rexburg, than Coeur d'Alene, than Sandpoint, than Lewiston. Boise is a whole lot more moderate. I've told this story so many times, forgive me if you've heard it before. About this time of year, in fact, it was October 11th or so, 10th, 11th, 12th, we were in Island Park, which is about an hour more on the highway from Rexburg, so closer to West Yellowstone. And it was sleeting rain that morning. It was above freezing, but it was sleeting rain, it was cold. Packed the car up, drove. The car we had last had this gasket on the windshield that would flutter if you got going too fast. It was so windy that it made that little gasket flutter even more. And so we had to go 70 miles per hour home the whole way because that thing was making so much noise. And then all of a sudden that noise quit about 20 minutes outside of Boise. And all of a sudden the wind was gone, and then it was like 70 degrees in Boise. And I'm sure it warmed up in Eastern Idaho, maybe like 45 or something that day. But in Boise, it was 70-degree, perfectly sunny weather. I'm not sure what it is about Boise's weather, but it is it's much better. In the summer, you're 10 degrees warmer than Eastern Idaho. You can make an argument that Eastern Idaho's weather is the absolute best in the summer. It just comes at a cost of the negative temperatures in the winter and the wind that's there. The wind starts, I'm not sure, typically the wind starts Mountain Home, kinda, Twin Falls mostly, and then Burley, it feels like it's Burley East is a lot worse, especially when you get to Rexburg. It's just never, like Rexburg's at the absolute worst. The wind chill is just -40, it seems like regularly. But back to Boise, it's actually surprisingly moderate. I bought a snowblower last year, used it 3 times this past year, and it was used because I wanted to use it. I could have let the snow melt naturally. My neighbor did, and he did just fine. It's really not a necessity if you want to save yourself the hour, a couple hours of time. My kids love it. My kids love getting out there with the snow shovel. I love getting out there with the snow blower. It's a little easy. And so it can be what you make of it. Thanksgiving is usually kind of like when things get ushered in. I've seen snow in October before. In fact, I have a weird memory with dates and numbers. I remember October 21st growing up. I can't remember, it was elementary school, that we had snow. For the most part, that's more like eastern Idaho and northern Idaho that get snow that early. In fact, I think Driggs, Idaho, eastern Idaho, got snow on Monday. And that's before mid-October. So Boise's usually November. Very few Thanksgivings I remember snow on the ground. When there was, I remember going and sledding. The con of the winter is that there's these things called inversions. And inversions is basically, not sure how it happens, but the ecosystem flips and all of a sudden the cold air gets trapped. And if you drive up to Bogus, for example, you'll drive through the clouds and all of a sudden you get to Bogus, it's a bluebird day, right? And it's all perfectly sunny because the clouds are just trapped in that valley. It takes wind to get it out of there, or it takes some sort of weather pattern to get it out of there. Usually between 5 days and 20 days is kind of the most time you'll see there. Last winter we had a couple. And it's kind of cool because what happens is it traps. And if it's cold enough, you can actually get, there's a scientific name for it. My customer told me because they looked up while we were having these trees, but the trees kind of frost over and they look all white. They look like they're straight from Hobby Lobby. That happens. And so some people just feel like it feels a little depressing in that time. It kind of feels like you're in Seattle or Portland type of thing, or maybe the smog of LA, maybe that can relate, but it will go away. I don't know of anyone who has any problems breathing, or maybe asthma attacks that happen in there. That might happen, I just don't know them. Going back to the snow shoveling thing, when it does snow here, it's usually pretty light, like a half inch to an inch or two. Something that is 29 degrees when it snows and it's 35 degrees by the end of the night. The one problem you'll have with the snow is when you have it melt like that, but it doesn't melt all the way, and you had maybe 5 inches of snow, and all of a sudden you've got ice and slush on the main roads. Keep in mind, the main roads are plowed, but if they aren't, or you're on a side road, or you have a hill driveway, you'll need to scrape that off. And that's what I watch for. When I look to see if I should go shovel my walks or my driveway, I look to see the outlook on the snow report or the weather report. If it's snowing today and then the rest of the week it's 40 degrees, I don't even bother. And that's very normal. We had a thing called Snowmageddon here in Boise, and I've got pictures of me with snow up to my knees and higher. It felt like New England a little bit, although I think they get that type of snow in like 24, 48 hours. We got that over a period of a month. People were going to Costco, ourselves included, loading up on toilet paper, batteries, flashlights, food, because we thought the end of the world, not literally the end of the world, but it felt like the end of the world to us. That did happen. Apparently the last time that happened was like 35 years before that. So it's not common, but it did happen. And if you moved here your first year, in fact, I've run into people who said they moved here, that was their first year. They're like, yeah, those people are lying to me. This place is pretty terrible. It's just not like that all the time. In the winter time, it says the sunrise is about 8 a.m. and then the sunset is about 5 p.m. That is, it's by 5:30 dead of winter, it's dark. It's dark outside. If you dress warm, I found this out, believe it or not, I figured this out at age 39 last year. If you dress appropriately, the winter is much more manageable. I sometimes will just put on something like this, and then I'll wonder why I'm cold and shivering. If you put this on with a coat over it, you'll be totally fine. If you layer a sweatshirt with a coat, you'll be totally fine. Keep that in mind. If you just dress for the winter, you are so much better off. You don't need to have earmuffs, scarves, gloves, coat, extra leggings. My wife would argue you always need to have leggings on even in 90 degrees. So there's two sides of the story, but just know that you should be able to be just fine. If you forget your gloves or your hat one day, you should be fine. I wear a beanie frequently in the winter. I don't mind it. I don't think you have to have one. But if you're experiencing like the Rexburg of the winters or Coeur d'Alene, Idaho of the winters, yeah, you need more than that. But Boise, you can get away with just bundling up a good coat. What car can you drive in Idaho? You don't need to have an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive to make it in Idaho. If you get to the main roads in Idaho, you're gonna be fine. I have had a Camry until about 7-8 years ago, and the Camry did just fine in all snow conditions. Now I have a truck, it does great. My wife has an all-wheel drive van, it does great. Subarus obviously would do great. I drove a rear-wheel drive truck to college, and college was in Rexburg, Idaho. And Rexburg is snow from now until like March. And guess what? We survived. You learn how to drive in the snow. You're not going to be climbing up mountains, but if you're driving on solid streets, learning how to drive in the snow is a lot easier, and it's manageable. It's better and easier with a nicer car, but I don't think you need to go trading in your car just to be here. Now, if you get here and have a different experience, hit me up. I've got someone who can sell cars to you, but I think you'll be just fine. Brings us to our last season, the season when the real estate market heats up, and that's spring. In fact, I always say the real estate market kind of follows that weather, and that first sunny weather weekend is a good weekend for open houses. People are out and about. So there's a state basketball tournament for high school every March. It's like the first weekend of March, first or second weekend, and I have a lot of memories of a lot of wind at that activity. And so waiting in line for your tickets, just remember a lot of wind. This past year wasn't that way, but so wind comes as the temperatures change. I would say Boise's weather in the spring can also be very unpredictable. Snow in the morning and golfing in the 70s in the afternoon type of thing. I'm not saying that happens a lot. In fact, I wouldn't say it happens once every 5 years, maybe once every 10 years, but it can happen. Boise's weather is very unpredictable. I've also heard it say that if you don't like the weather, stick around for 15 minutes. And I've heard that from a lot of places. So I think that's just kind of the weather in general. So Boise would stay true to that overall consensus with it can change a ton. Despite what the calendar says, late February to probably mid-May, beginning of May, is what people would call the spring season. Cool mornings, mild afternoons, unpredictable, super refreshing. Sunrise between 7 and 8 a.m. and then sunsets between 6, and then late in April, we're getting past 8 o'clock. Day hikes, spring break getaways. Ski season, it goes from about Thanksgiving to usually about first or second weekend of April with the ski hill here. Again, referencing Miss Congeniality, all I need is a light jacket. And you can get away with this full long sleeve jacket for the spring and the fall. You could have this morning for spring and for fall, you could have this morning worn a winter coat in the morning, this in the afternoon, and then mowing your lawn in the shorts in the evening, and then again, pants and a long sleeve tee in the evening. You can get all 4 seasons in a day, and that's just Boise. I regularly in these fall, springtime, I'm doing heater in the morning and then AC in the evening. If you think you can handle the weather, you want to know more about Boise, go watch the pros and cons of moving to Boise, Idaho. You'll need to watch that video. Only like 30 seconds of repeat of weather in that video for you, so you'll want to go watch that. But if you're looking to come to conservative Idaho and you want the official, non-official, non-woke agent of Idaho to help you in your freedom quest, that's me. Give me a call, text, email. There's no greater compliment I received than helping you guys come here. And if I missed anything, or you have a favorite season, or you want to add something that you experienced upon moving to Idaho, please put that in the comments below. And I love responding to those. I love hearing your guys' thoughts. I love hearing what I missed, because I feel like I've got a lot of knowledge having lived here for a while, but then there's always something I missed. So if you have that, please put that in the comments.